All right, pretty heavy movie. Appreciate you guys' respect and attention during that. I know that can be emotional, and I would just say that after a presentation like this, you know, if you were heavily impacted or experiencing some emotions during that video, then we always encourage you to talk with somebody, a trusted adult, or one of the teachers here at the end. This is my brother Drew Swan. On April 3rd of 2013, we lost him to synthetic opioid overdose. It was 1 week before his 25th birthday. He was my best friend. We actually were born at Crittenton Hospital in Rochester, and born 16 months apart. I don't know if anybody in here has a sibling that's a best friend. I'm sure a lot of you, brother or sister. But he was all that I had, so he was my first friend and my best friend for a long time. So I felt pretty lucky to have him my whole life. I didn't think that I really needed a big friend group because I always had my brother, and I always had somebody that had my back. He was extremely talented. He was a state champion swimmer as a freshman. He was MVP of his tennis team as a freshman. He was voted best looking of his graduating class. He had a 160 IQ. Things just kind of came easy to him. He woke up without studying or taking any preparatory class for his ACT, and he scored, I think, a 36, versus I took a preparatory class and I got a 27. So he was just very smart. Things came easy to him. He was also very popular, and I think the thing that I just remember most about him is the way that he made me feel. He always made me feel safe and protected, but when I saw him interact with other people, he made them feel included, and he could just light up a room. So we really missed this guy. He was more than a brother. He was just someone I really, really liked. So what happened? In middle school, Drew experimented with some alcohol for the first time. He got exposed to marijuana during his high school years. And it became kind of like a once-a-month thing as he went further down into high school. Our parents got separated my sophomore year of high school, and that was rough on both of us. My brother went off to college, and he didn't have a lot of supports, a lot of positive supports in his life at that time. We were both kind of rebelling after our parents' separation. But I poured myself into athletics, and Drew kind of fell into more of a party scene at that time. And his freshman year of college, he got a sports injury. He was wrestling a friend at a party, and he broke his collarbone. He went to an urgent care, and he got his first prescription for something called Percocet. It's effective medication for bone break injuries that he was prescribed back then, but it is also very addicting. And 2 years later, we found out that he was addicted to opioids. He wasn't showing any signs of it. He was dual majoring in English and business at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee at the time. He had a successful relationship with his girlfriend. He was getting good grades. There were really no external signs that he was struggling. But he finally told us, I'm struggling with these substances. And I watched him try to get off of them on his own, and he would go into these violent shaking episodes, cold sweats, and he just couldn't get off of the substances on his own. So he asked for help, and we got it for him. We got him to a rehab facility. He moved down to Florida and lived in a sober living home for a few years, about 6 months in a sober living home. And he was doing really well. He became visual manager of a Hollister. He was working a couple jobs in restaurants. He wanted to start his own branch of a retail store overseas. And he had big hopes and plans and dreams for his future. I don't know anybody sitting in the audience today, but I know that you guys do have hopes and dreams and plans for the future as well. And we want to see you guys fulfill those. So one day I got a call. Drew had kind of fallen off the map for a little bit, and I was doing my graduate studies up at Michigan State, and I heard Drew on the other side of the phone tell me that he was kind of struggling and that he needed to see me. And I told him that I'd be happy to see him in a couple of weeks when I was done with my finals, and he said, no, Jack, that's too, I need to see you sooner. I want to see you soon. And stayed on the phone with him for 45 minutes. We had a great conversation, but the next day, I couldn't get a hold of his phone, neither could his friends. And at midnight on April 3rd, I got the call from Drew's friend Erwin that Drew was dead. He said, Jack, Drew's dead. And I immediately thought there must be a mistake. Are they doing chest compressions? Do you have EMS there? Are they trying to revive him? I was CPR certified at the time. It was a really helpless feeling. And he said, no, it looks like he's been dead for a while. He actually had taken an unprescribed pill that he got from his roommate's medicine cabinet at his sober living home. Drew took the pill that night, went and helped his friend shop for some apartments, and then his friend noticed that Drew was kind of slurring his speech, seemed to be falling asleep or nodding out, and his friend thought that Drew just needed to sleep it off, so he dropped Drew off at his sober living home. Drew gave him a thumbs up that he was feeling okay as he walked into his room that night. He fell down, chipped his tooth, never woke up again. After I heard that EMS were actually wheeling Drew out on a stretcher in a body bag is when I finally broke down and started crying. Because then I realized I had to call both my parents and tell them that they had lost their firstborn son. It's an experience that we never want happening to any of your families. If it has happened to one of your families or a couple of people in the audience, I apologize. It's a terrible experience, and it's why, there are some things that I like to share about your story that hopefully after a presentation like today will stick with you. And you guys will, after today's presentation, be able to recognize the signs of an overdose, which Drew was exhibiting to his friend, and be able to respond effectively with a life-saving medication called naloxone, which we'll tell you more about.